Okay, YouTube. This is Dan again. I get asked the question all the time, can you really save money reloading? And normally the answer is maybe, or it all depends. But if there was ever a poster child for reloading, it would have to be the lowly 410. Most of us, we get a 410 shotgun for our kids or maybe our wife, and then we go to the Walmart or the local sporting goods store and we go to buy a box of shells, and we hit the floor because you can't imagine $15 for 25 shells. So that's pretty expensive for the 3-inch shells that you would get your kid to go squirrel hunting or rabbit hunting or small game hunting. Will cost you about $17 for a box of 25, anywhere from $15 to $17. And we can load that same shell for about $7, and I'm figuring that on the high end. If you figure 11/16 ounce load of shot, a 15 grain load of H110 powder, and a wad, and a primer, you're looking right about $7 a box to load it. As you can see here in the video, I have some real old Alcan fiber wads, and you can find them here and there. If you're going to load paper shells, you're going to need fiber wads. Here I have a real old box of Remington one-piece 410 shells for wads to load 3/4 ounce, and then I have bags of Winchester for the 2.5, and then they're just all various different wads, and there's not really a whole lot of difference in them. But I tell you, of all the shotgun shells to load, the one that you save the most money loading for is the 410, but he is the meanest little guy there is to load for. I don't think that Lee makes a 410 loader, so I believe that the Mech 600 Junior Mark V is probably going to be about the lowest cost 410 loader that you can get on the market today. And if you do much shooting, and kids love to shoot, so you're going to be wanting to load a lot of 410 shells. So I would expect that the payback at 50% savings on shells is going to be pretty rapid. I haven't really ran the math as far as how long it would take you to pay it back or how many shells, but you can do that. You just figure you're going to save about 50% loading. So let's get to it, and then I'll show you some of the steps involved. Okay, as you can see, I've sorted out a bunch of Remington empties. There's no particular preference for Remington empties. I just happen to have a bag of Remington 410 11/16 ounce wads here, and I just figured it would be easier. You can always use the Winchester wad to load your Super X hulls, or if you have a bunch of old paper hulls, and I do, you can load your fiber wads. Or for that matter, if you have an oddball shell that you don't really know what wad is appropriate, you can load them with fiber wads too. And I don't personally believe that you'll notice much difference in them. So the first thing you do is you put your empty in your deprime and resize stage, run it down and pull it back up, pull it off. Then we'll want to inspect it to make sure there's no cracks. And you notice that they're corrody and dirty. That's perfectly alright, won't hurt a thing. I guess you could put them in your tumbler if you wanted to, but I've never seen a reason to do it. Once my grandkids get them out in the woods squirrel hunting, they'll probably lose them anyway, and they're certainly not going to hurt that old single shot 410 bore. So the next thing you do is you put a 209 primer in there. As you can see, we're newly primed. And come over here to the to the middle stage just like any other shotgun shell. Pull your handle down, slap your powder over, which, by the way, to load 410s you have to use the slowest shotgun powders that there is. That would be your IMR 4227, your Alliant 2400, your Hodgdon H110, and also Hodgdon has what a 410 powder they call Little Gun now, and Alliant has a powder they call 410. I haven't tried the 410 or the Little Gun. Maybe I probably should sometime in the future, but to this point I haven't. So anyways, we're using H110. We're using about 15 grains, and I dropped my powder. And here's the deal with this new on the new Mark V. If you notice, this here is on your powder bar. When you throw your powder, it holds your wad fingers down in position and keeps them from going up. It kind of takes a step out for you. Then merely insert your wad. As in, if you notice, there isn't much to these 410 wads, and they're pretty much all the same. I guess they're enough different that you need to use what you're going to load with. So there we've loaded our wad, and we've thrown our shot. And we lost most of it. Like I said, these little 410s are a booger to load for. So I always just put if I have an accident like that, I just take in a little trick. Since we've got our wad in there already, I'm going to drop the powder on top of the wad like it was the shot. And we'll take my shotgun shell out. And the new Mech powder bottles have a cap, and I'm just going to pour the powder back into the top. And now I'm ready to drop shot again. They're not so, these little 410s aren't so bad if you're using smaller shot like 7.5, 8s, 9s. Well, you see you've got your shot in there, but I'm using 6s so the grandkids can have a good shell to kill a squirrel. So here we have our spandex crimp starter, and if you notice, this new Mark V, that'll spin, so it really helps in your crimp, starting your crimp. And then we go back to the final crimp. And here, of course, this has been a well-used shell. Here we have another perfectly good 410 shotgun shell. And we put them in the box. And we continue on. Now you could deprime a whole bunch of them and then load a whole bunch of them, or you could just load a bunch. Let's do a Super X. Same as your Remington, just put it in your deprime resize stage. Knock out the primer, resize the brass. Here we have it. Put it on the priming punch. Put a new primer in the primer cup. Seat the primer. Got a good primer. Put it in the powder shot. We'll drop our powder charge. Insert a wad. Bring it down. Throw the shot. And we spill some, but that's okay. Put it in a start. And here we have a good finished 11/16 ounce 410 shotgun shells. Well, I hope you have better luck with 410s than I have. They're a booger to load, but they're well worth the money, and I suggest you do it. This is Dan, so happy loading and happy shooting.